So if you've ever found yourself wondering what exactly makes someone finally say yes to a pitch, well, you are in the exact right place. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking the mechanics of human persuasion straight from our source material. We're going to explore the strategies, dive into the psychology, and really break down the fundamental mechanics of how a sale actually happens in the real world.
To kick things off, I want you to consider a fundamental question that honestly causes a whole lot of debate. Are great salespeople born with a natural art, or are they just executing a highly structured, teachable science? Is it all about undeniable charisma, or is there a step-by-step formula that literally anyone can learn? Keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through this.
Here is exactly how we're going to navigate this masterclass today. We'll start with the power of personal selling, move into the psychology of a sale, break down the 7 steps to a sale, look at types of selling jobs, and wrap up with the traits of top salespeople.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the power of personal selling, defining the human connection.
First up, we need to clearly contrast personal selling with sales promotion. Now, sales promotion is absolutely vital for driving immediate, short-term volume. We're talking about your major tools here, things like limited-time discount coupons, sweepstakes, or those classic buy-one-get-one-free deals. But personal selling, that's an entirely different beast. It offers ongoing, direct, face-to-face communication. A salesperson can literally read the room, adapt their pitch instantly, and, most importantly, get direct feedback from the customer. And let's be real, that's something a newspaper ad or a promo code simply cannot do. And because of that invaluable direct feedback, the financial investment here is massive. Get this, personal selling often eats up anywhere from 15 to 20% of a company's net sales budget. That completely dwarfs the 2 to 5% they typically spend on advertising. It's wild, right? But for complex or highly priced goods, companies know for a fact that this human touch is what actually drives the economy forward.
Moving right along to Section 2, the psychology of a sale, focusing on the 4 selling theories.
Our source material neatly divides these 4 major theories into 2 distinct camps. On one side, we've got experience-based theories. These were built from the ground up, based on the collective, real-world field experience of working salespeople. And on the flip side, we have behavioral and psychology-based theories, which are heavily grounded in systematic academic research and the behavioral sciences.
Let's look at the first experience-based theory, and it's an absolute classic, AIDA. This theory states that a successful presentation leads the prospect's mind through 4 distinct stages: attention, interest, desire, and action. Imagine you're selling a skin lotion. First, you grab their attention by stating, "Hey, this new lotion protects from dry skin." Then, you build interest by asking, "Are you aware that preventing dry skin is absolutely crucial to preventing wrinkles?" See what's happening there? You're strategically guiding their mind from just noticing the product to actually desiring it and finally taking that action and buying it.
Next up in the experience-based camp is the right set of circumstances theory. Some folks call this the situation response theory. This one is highly seller-oriented. Think of it as trying to literally engineer a yes. It suggests that if you say, invite a prospect out for a nice cup of tea in the perfect, relaxing environment, well, the sale just naturally follows. The catch here? It focuses almost entirely on the seller manipulating the external situation rather than truly uncovering what the buyer actually needs.
Now, let's switch gears to the psychological side of things, starting with the buying formula theory. This completely flips the script. Instead of manipulating circumstances, the salesperson's role is viewed as a helper. It recognizes that a buyer has a specific need or a problem. They're feeling deprived of something, right? So the salesperson steps in to guide the buyer to a solution, explicitly linking their specific deprivation to the product and the brand name. It's highly problem and solution oriented.
Finally, we have the behavioral equation theory. This is a really fascinating psychological model that treats buying as a learning process triggered by 4 specific elements. First, you have drives. This could be a basic internal need like thirst, or maybe a learned external desire for social respect. Then you have cues, or stimuli. Think of it like this. If you touch a hot pan, the heat is the cue that instantly prompts the response to pull your hand away. In sales, a product's color, its price tag, or even an advertisement acts as the cue, prompting the response to buy. And if that purchase satisfies the drive, you get reinforcement, meaning the buyer will more than likely come back and buy again.
That brings us to Section 3, 7 steps to a sale, taking us from prospecting all the way to follow-up. So how does all this theory look in action? The execution happens in a 7-step creative selling process, and it all begins with a critical preparation phase. Step 1 is prospecting, meaning you have to actually locate and identify potential customers. You can't just sell to anyone. You absolutely need qualified leads. Step 2 is the pre-approach. This is where you do your homework, researching the prospect's specific needs before you ever even say hello. And step 3 is the approach, your initial contact. Here are things like your dress, your speech, your mannerisms, and your level of confidence will literally make or break that crucial first impression.
Okay, once you've made a solid approach, you enter the execution phase. Step 4 is the presentation, where you clearly communicate the product's benefits, maybe using models or charts to really drive the point home. But, no presentation is perfect, which leads straight into Step 5, handling objections. This is where you have to overcome the customer's resistance. Step 6 is closing the sale, actually asking for the order. And then, arguably the most important step for long-term success is Step 7, follow-up. After the sale is made, you must ensure the customer is satisfied so they eventually become a repeat buyer. Now, during that closing step, the text mentions a really brilliant, low-pressure tactic called the trial close. Instead of aggressively demanding the money, you just kind of test the waters. You might ask something like, "So, which color would you prefer?" Or, "When would you like this delivered?" If they answer positively, boom, they've just signaled that they are ready to buy, and you can confidently move forward to finalize the order.
All right, let's move into Section 4, Types of Selling Jobs, because as you'll see, not all sales are the same.
The most fundamental distinction in the field is between order takers and order getters. Order takers are the folks who perform routine transactions just to keep things running smoothly, kind of like a retail clerk ringing up your groceries. But order getters, they have a much tougher job. They have to actively hunt and make the sale happen. They're out in the field using a high degree of creative persuasion to actually win over buyers.
And within that order getters category, there's another fascinating divide. You have those who sell tangible products, things you can physically touch, like encyclopedias, vacuum cleaners, or computers. Sometimes this even requires a highly specialized technical sales engineer. But then you have those who sell intangible products, things like consulting, advertising, or insurance. The text makes a great point that this is much, much more difficult, simply because the service cannot even be seen or demonstrated. You are essentially selling a promise, which requires an immense amount of trust.
Which perfectly sets up our final section, Section 5, Traits of Top Salespeople, Exploring the Art of Selling.
To be a truly successful order getter, just memorizing those 7 steps we talked about isn't going to cut it. You need a highly specific cocktail of human traits. You need to be a stellar communicator, which, by the way, actually means being a world-class listener. You need the analytical intelligence to solve complex problems on the fly. You must have genuine infectious enthusiasm for whatever product you're pitching. And above all else, because you are the literal face of the company and often handling their funds, you absolutely need complete, uncompromising integrity.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive. But before you go, I want you to look back at your own life. Think about the last time you made a major purchase, maybe a car, a new computer, or a software subscription for your business. Were you seamlessly guided through a calculated scientific 7-step process? Or were you simply won over by the genuine, artful human connection of the seller? Or is true mastery actually found when those two things become completely indistinguishable? Keep that in mind the next time you find yourself on either side of a sale.